back. Welcome to Third Coast Sports TV. I'm your host, Wink. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all go ahead, y'all get on up in here so we can go ahead and talk some football. Been a minute. Trying to see what's going down with everybody. Let's see what we got here. Where the hell is my chat at? Everybody in the chat yet? Well, it's all good. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs button. Make sure y'all go ahead and y'all get in the comment section so we can go ahead and do everybody's shout outs. I see they added a whole bunch of new stuff on here since it's been a minute since I went live. Done all kind of stuff. Yeah. D, what's up, boy? Let me know. Make sure the volume and everything is all good too. It's been a minute. Had a long ass off season. Y'all ain't heard me in a minute, but y'all been seeing me everywhere. QG, you already know. What's up, boy? Tay Hill, what up? Oh, and for those of you who have been a part of my draft, NFL.com, the app, if you've been a part of my last two drafts, like on the NFL mobile app, for some reason they moved everything over to the to ESPN now. I don't know why they shutting it down like that, but the head-on collision will end up moving on to the ESPN app, so everybody be on the lookout. If you already been a part of it, for the Money League, I'll be sending out the invitations. I still pretty much got everybody's email, so if you've been a part of it, just know it's going to be a 10-man league. And we'll be doing that with the Sunday after the last preseason game when cuts and everything go on. That's gonna be the end of that. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into tonight's game. The Raiders is facing off day and age time. We're gonna face off against the Texans. It's gonna end up being not necessarily a test. I don't think it's really gonna be a test. DeMeco Ryan is going to end up letting some of the offensive starters play, ready to see Keelan Rutledge, versus not necessarily, I think the Chargers, was probably going to end up being a better preseason game for them last week because of the team that they played, even though they didn't play any of the Charger starters on defense. Was still some things that we liked. Like everything that we're hearing coming up out of camp. If y'all just getting in, go ahead and make sure y'all smash that like button. Shout out to everybody who in the chat right now. Leonard, Texas boy, Big B, you already know what it is. Root, what's good, man? If y'all on Discord, ping everybody in Discord. Just let everybody know everything up live because, I ain't been live in a little while. So, sometimes YouTube don't be sending out them damn notifications. So, I want to go ahead and get some content from the season preview for this game for the preseason, just to be able to give a couple thoughts, because I'm probably going to end up doing a live stream later on, probably an hour or so before the game actually starts. Probably, if I do a post-game stream, it probably won't be until tomorrow, because I'm going to be in the Discord with the fellas watching the game. But before we get it started, we're going to go ahead and we're going to address what could be in a lot of fans' minds when Jayden Higgins went out yesterday in camp. Personally, I think it's a devastating loss for him. I think with CJ, being able to have another dependable option at the receiver spot, especially considering the amount of work that he was getting done, could it hurt? Possibly. Is it gonna hurt as much as a lot of Texans fans are making it out to be? Personally, I don't think so. I think with you getting Jalen Noel back, I think the way that they're taking Tank slowly but surely, and the receivers that you have and, guys that you have stepping up like Lewis Bond, Hutchinson's had a damn good camp, Jared Wayne's had a damn good camp. So when you really see the guys, and we're not even going to get started on guys like Marlon Klein. I am extremely high on Marlon Klein. I know when draft night happened, on the second day, a lot of people was like, who the hell is this? This dude is a reach. But since he's been in camp, that dude has been a beast when he's been able to practice. He has good cohesion with a lot of different quarterbacks. He fits into what Nick Haley wants to do. They want to run the ball. They want to be in big sets. They want to be able to block, do play action, and work in the slot receivers as well as dumping the ball down to the running backs in the passing game. I think all these things can be effective, and with the time that CJ is more than likely going to end up having them, because I think he will end up having much better protection this year than he has had in years past. Not the last year was pretty decent, considering the fact that you get rid of Laremy Tunsil. This season you get rid of Titus Howard, who was not going to get re-upped on no contract whatsoever with the Houston Texans, because his play has dipped off over the last few years, and I don't think they've been able to find any dominant cohesion with him being in and out of the lineup, whether that's him playing left guard or right tackle. They need to play. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I understand why DeMeco wanted to do what he did. Losing a guy like that, they already he's over. And DeMeco has been so overly cautious with Tank, but I think it's about time for them to go ahead and take the reins off of their boy. They want him in pass, they want him in this, they bringing him along slowly. But at the end of the day, you don't really want that to be able to play on Tank's confidence. And you do want to make sure that you do what you can to be able to protect your players. So I think DeMeco's doing a good job as far as that goes. I don't think we have any setbacks with Tank on a physical level. They just want to work him in slowly, but getting Jaylen Noel back is huge. You see a lot of his explosion. Prior to camp, before he hurt his finger, he was working really well with CJ Stroud. He had a much better, like what we've been hearing the last couple of weeks since what? Bro, what a weirdo. Yeah, definitely hide that. Yeah, that was a weird message. Yeah, yeah, that was pretty weird. Yeah, but that shit threw me off. I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, back to Noel. Noel prior to yeah, that's a crazy message, bro. Yeah, old buddy got to get timed out for that one. That was pretty wild. Yeah, but Jaylen Noel being back in camp is going to more than likely end up being a very huge thing. I think when you want to be able to work him in, he more than likely will end up being the second receiver in the situation, especially if they don't bring Tank in to be able to start the season. The vertical line ain't. Yeah, I tried to have it, for I tried to have it, horizontally, but it wouldn't let me do it. It kept saying that I had to twist it back when I was going back. I don't know why the hell it was doing me like that, but it is what it is. I got to work with it right now, because I got to try to get back into the swing of things. But right now, I think Jaylen Noel is probably one of the best guys that you're going to have to end up depending on. Hopefully, he can maintain his health. He doesn't get any significant hamstring injuries, anything like that. Definitely gonna need to make sure that these guys are stepping up. You like what you're hearing from guys from Jerry Wayne. You like what you're getting from Schultz. You like what you're getting from Stover. Love what Montgomery and Woody are doing in the passing game, which I think is going to be extremely vital. So I think too many people are trying to hit the panic button early, and I understand a lot of trade talks, amongst fans, and a lot of conversations are happening on the radio. They're gonna be happening in the mainstream media soon. They're gonna be like, well, should the Texans do this? Should the Texans do that? Honestly, I believe the Texans are in the space right now where they don't want to give up any more compensation for a guy to be a one-year rental. They don't want to give out any big contracts because they got a lot of guys coming up soon. And what's the point of them having one of the better coaching staffs if they can't be able to get these guys ready? With the protection that you've seen with CJ and the fact that he's been locked in on a completely different level in this offseason, the Cole Popovich has that O-line rolling. I think they're going to end up finding the best guys that they possibly can in this situation. Just as long as everybody, stays healthy, which I think they can do. But if you have a guy go in and out, I think you have enough guys to be able to supplement any losses that you have throughout the season. Yeah, run game and tight ends, hands down, are probably one of the most important things. I think they'll definitely find ways to move Nico around more so than they ever could now that Higgins is down. It's an unfortunate injury. It was news we definitely weren't expecting, but you know, we're gonna have to figure some things out. Running the ball, I can understand that was a concern until really this week because you hadn't seen like a lot of explosive plays. But when the Raiders came to town, we started getting some explosive plays from David Montgomery and Woody, you know, as well as in the passing game, which they pretty much been doing throughout the camp. The defense is going to be what the defense is. It don't need no introduction. The league is already on notice, and they already know exactly what they have to deal with. Um, I can understand Raiders fans wanting to see what kind of work they could possibly get in to see who's the starter going to end up being, but it's more than likely going to end up being Kirk Cousins. I think he just has a better grasp, and he's already been in this system before. When he was in Washington, he had a similar system when he was with KOC, you know, at the end of his career and with the Vikings. So the fact that he has had a certain amount of success, um, especially with the things that they have right now, they've had some losses. Um, you know, they had some players going down on their own end. They still trying to find out what they can do with their secondary. But as far as their offense, I think it'll more than likely end up being better than their defense. Still got to watch out for Max Crosby. I like some guys that they have in their linebacker core, like you know, like Quay Walker. I like the guys they had, like N'Kobe Dean. I think they could have filled out a little bit more in their defensive tackle areas, you know, but edge rush is going to end up having to do. I don't know where the hell Tyree Wilson is, you know what I'm saying? He's not. If any Raiders fans got to get up in here, man, y'all have to let me know how y'all feeling about Tyree Wilson, if he even exists. As far as I'm concerned, he cast with a friendly ghost. Um, do you think they're still gonna have no long punt return and injuries? I think they have options. I think because they've tried it on Lewis Bond out there, you know, during certain practice periods, you know, when it comes to and they actually had him doing some returns in the last game. I don't know if y'all had really noticed that, but you know, I think we have a few options. Spitz, what's good? What's good, bro? I think we have a few options to be able to return. I don't, you know, Tank, I think, is still in the fold for that. I don't think they'll end up using him because I think they really want him to be more efficient on offense. And I think they want to minimize and working him back to make sure his body's right before they end up putting him back in that role. So if everything works out for him this year and if they extend him, you know, I'll probably give him like a 1-year prove-it deal, you know, for him to be able to stay in the city another year longer so he can be able to get his big contract. I could definitely see that going on. He'll be I want to say 27 or 28 by the time the season is over with because he was a little older when he was drafted. But that's all good. That's all well and fine. Um, from what I see right now, I'm really thinking going on in this game. I'm really looking at the tight ends. I'm looking at Cade McDonald. Much was. I've been hearing a lot of things and I've been in a lot of streams and I know y'all been seeing me in a lot of conversations across YouTube. And one of the things that I'm really just not understanding is why everybody is just so down on these linebackers. And I think the reporting hasn't really been given any justice. But one guy I do want to give a shout out to, I do want to give a shout out to Saturday Morning Inspection for doing a great job and doing an honest breakdown on what he saw from Aiden Fisher when he did step into the lineup from the linebacker core. And he had several plays where his recognition, his IQ, his physical ability, as well as as well as him being able to find his spots and not think and be able to meet defenders exactly where they needed to be and taking away any guys from the run game. I think his communication was pretty well considering the fact the way he was drafted. I think long term he's more than likely going to end up being one of those guys because you know Jake Hansen, Jake Hummel, and all these guys are just now getting back to the team in some capacity. You know, so Roman, what's good, bro? Man, I appreciate everybody who's coming through. I'm seeing these numbers go like up and down. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a situation with the if the live and everything is going crazy on y'all part. If it is, just let me know. and I can be able to redo some stuff because I'm not going to be doing this live for too much longer, probably another 10 minutes or so. But I just wanted to get into tonight's matchup, and I think they haven't really discussed whether Fernando Mendoza is going to end up starting tonight or if it's going to end up being Kirk Cousins. If I had to guess, I would think Kirk Cousins will start probably a couple of series because it's from my understanding that CJ more than likely is going to end up playing a couple of series to be able to iron out some things and see exactly what they have, because they've been doing a lot of they've really been trying to find out their best lineup in the interior portion. I think tackle is pretty much settled. Keelan Rutledge has been a star since he's been in camp. He's been showing up. He's been starting some fights. His technique has gotten better. I think he has a lot of cohesion and he's able to effectively communicate across the line for everybody to be in their spot. And Cole Popovich, once again, is doing a hell of a job with this offensive line. I'm not sure if it's a situation where they want to see him tonight, if he's going to play more guard, and they want to end up putting a guy like Evan Brown in center, because word is they've been getting Evan Brown, Patterson, and Andrews, who had a horrible week, had some horrible snaps this week. So he more than likely will end up being on the bottom of the depth chart, and we probably won't see as much of him until it gets to like the third, fourth, or fifth period. When those guys end up coming in for the offensive side of the ball. So I guess we can end up keeping an eye on that. But if I had to take a guess tonight, more than likely they might end up going with Keelan Rutledge as the starter for center tonight. But if they don't, you can expect a guy like Evan Brown to end up being in that spot, and you can see Keelan Rutledge more than likely taking right guard duties. Yeah, you can cut. I'm totally with you. Andrews actually serves no purpose. I think the other guys that you have behind him, they give you more utility because they can kick in and guard if need be, and they can still play center. Keelan Rutledge, has been doing very well. Has been working on his snaps. I think he works on it on a daily basis. Very coachable. He has all the heart, he has the technique, and he just has the mentality that this team has always needed. And it's flourished into the rest of the offense. Last week, Sheldon Rankin said some things about a week ago now. He said some things about the offense, and you talked about Will Anderson and him being able to rake a practice and being able to do whatever he wants to do when he wants to do it. And basically, the offense was at his mercy to be able to get anything done. I mean, offense didn't like that. They came back. He had some static with Keelan Rutledge. A lot of things have gone on since then. The offense has got better. Even when it's come to pressure situations, you're seeing the operation from CJ. He's operating at a much higher level. They're throwing a lot more at him. Since Clowney's been in the building, they're going to do some things that I've heard, that I've discussed, and I'm probably going to end up talking about it at a later time because I definitely want to be able to get into him. Shout out to JD for being back on the squad. I think everybody on the defense is locked in, and he really took it personal, as he should have. I think when you hear another grown man, regardless if he's a teammate, just basically like talk down and be like, look, bro, yeah, we really them boys, but y'all really got to earn it. Well, the thing is, ever since that moment, they've been earning it. I can understand from the Chargers game, if it can look like, and I understand the disappointment looking at DeMeco, considering how deep and how deep the roster actually is. So a lot of these guys who we seen as backups, we felt that they had a lot of different miscues. I don't think the communication was as effective as it could be. And honestly, they weren't showcasing the level of physicality that DeMeco wanted, and he emphasized on that. Will Anderson had he spoke on that as well. And even though he didn't play the game, he still felt some responsibility to be able to speak to those guys and let them be known, hey, your job is on the line. You really don't need no extra motivation, because in order for you to be great, you're going to have to step up. You're going to have to look in the mirror. But at the end of the day, we still going to be here for you. And you're going to have, you have a stellar cast, and you got even better coaching. So tonight, I'm not really expecting too much from either side. I think a guy like Fernando Mendoza will probably be able to make a couple of plays. if he has to play, if him or Kirk Cousins has to play against the first team defense, I don't really expect anything. I think you're going to see a lot of run stuffs. I think you're going to see, if Brock Bowers plays, maybe he might make a play or two, but I don't think it'll be anything of any significance. Will they probably be able to move a ball? Maybe, but then I can easily see it getting shut down where they end up having to get a quick 3 and out, and they have to move on. If the offense gets on the field, much like the operation we seen last week, I expect the offense, especially with the starting O-line, to be able to just march down the field. I see a continuation of what they just had in joint practice 2 days ago when the Raiders had to take field with the Houston Texans, and personally, it was a slaughterhouse. So the fact that that was the case, I expect nothing less than that, at least for the first couple of series, especially with the operation of the first, possibly second string. When Davis Mills comes in, I think they should be able to allow him to operate maybe a drive or two with the starting O-line. After that, I think you can go ahead and sit those guys, see what you need to see from other guys. But tonight, I definitely want to see more physicality, and I want to see more physicality from K. McDonald. Woodaz, I want to see him step up just a little bit more. I think more than likely he's going to end up making the team probably as the third or fourth option, because you're going to need to fill out the you're definitely going to need to fill out your special teams, I think, to be able to have an adequate special teams, because right now the punting situation isn't looking good. Graham Mertz went down. I'm glad he was replaced, because it was extremely hard to be able to evaluate what Lewis Bond, Jared Wayne, and the other guys that we have at the tight end position, how you can evaluate those guys when he just could not get it done. What's good, Wise? What's good, Antoine? And, while it's an unfortunate situation for him, I thought more than likely he was going to end up being a camp casualty anyway, because I think Davis Mills is enough. I don't think there's anybody else that you really need to carry on from the you don't need 3 quarterbacks right now for the Houston Texans. I think, especially since the Jayden Higgins situation just happened, they're going to more than likely end up keeping maybe an extra running back, Noah Whittington, depending on how he is, because he should end up getting a healthy amount of reps tonight if he plays. Like what I saw out of him, like what I saw out of Jared Wayne last week. Hutchinson just had basically an end around. I think he was only targeted like one time, because on that scoring drive, they scored so fast, he didn't even really play any more snaps once that drive was over with. So I think he's not really a guy that they really have to worry about because of what he's done in camp. But I could definitely see a situation where we have 3 running backs. Jawar Jordan, he going to have to step up. Don't know exactly what he's doing, but even if he's hurt right now, he needs to get in. He needs to be explosive. He needs to show that, look, bro, I'm definitely here to stay, because if not, he more than likely he'll be released, but probably be back as a practice squad player, which we can discuss at a later date as of now. But 3 QB, yeah. We definitely don't. Yeah, definitely don't. I definitely want 3 running backs. It seems like that's more than likely going to end up being a situation, because I don't know what's going on with the British Brooks situation. Damo Woody and Noah does seem like a great tandem. They've made the most plays. Jawar Jordan was making very good plays in camp before he ended up having his injury. But the fact that you haven't seen him in like over a week now, and the fact that while he has picked up weight and he's changed his body, and I think he's still showcasing that explosion, right now you really can't just depend on him to be able to be available, to be able to get a proper assessment on him. You would like him to work out, but I just don't see them having four running backs, possibly 4 tight ends though. Because I think a guy like, even though we haven't seen Foster Moreau really be active in terms of his receiving power, that's why I think Marlon Klein, Dalton Schultz, quite possibly Cade Stover can end up making their money. Yeah, I think he could end up being either or. either or. I mean, I'm not really seeing anything major for him. Had high hopes for him a couple of weeks back when camp started. You feel really good about it, especially considering how how they were choosing to use him, especially within the passing game. So you need, especially with this just Jayden Higgins situation, you're gonna need as many bodies as you possibly can because, from a lot of people's view, CJ doesn't have any excuses. And I think the guys that he has, I think he's elevated guys before. I think he can do it again. As long as he has the proper play calls, and I think now he's more bought into the system and he has a better grasp on it versus last year. I think the O-line does as well. Um, I think Trent Brown being in this camp to start is a monumental thing that nobody talks about. Personally, I said this a couple of days ago to a couple of guys in the Discord. Y'all not a part of the Sauce Discord, man, make sure that y'all get on up in there. But Trent Brown being a part of this camp early matters more than anybody will ever know. As you know, last year when Trent Brown, he missed like the first 8 games. Once he came back, we didn't lose a game with this man in the lineup. It was an unfortunate situation, that he couldn't be a part, and he did everything he could that morning to try to be able to be available in that Patriots playoff game. He couldn't go. Nico couldn't go. You still thought maybe you had a left, but once you started losing a couple more linemen, during the game, and you end up losing all of your tight ends. Majority of your tight ends were already gone to start the season. Case Stover was done by this time last year. Brevin Jordan was done in OTAs. He's already done again. So it's just like he's cut. He's going to be able to move on. I don't know if he's even going to have the capacity to be able to play football any further because he's been injured so many. And, this is 3 years in a row now. I don't foresee him being on the team any further. I think number 9 is going to end up being a number for somebody on offense or defense. There are a lot of guys out there right now that people are championing for us to be able to bring back. I understand, we had a conversation the other day of people being interested in Marvin Harrison, being able to make a trade for that. DeAndre Hopkins made a post saying that he would love to come back. You see the names like the Brandon Cooks, and you see the names like the Tyler Lockett's and guys like that, because these are some of the available free agents right now. But personally, I don't see any of that. Michael Wilson more than likely is going to end up getting paid because of his 1,000-yard season last year, and he's a person that Jacoby Brissett can really rely on right now. I think they have a great chemistry, and the Cardinals are not as bad as a lot of people think that they would be. Marv would be nice though. Considering how they feel about him, not completely sure if they're still in, if they got 1 foot in and 1 foot out, but time will tell come next year or the end of the season if they don't end up extending his 5th-year option. If he doesn't get it, because he'll be going into his 4th season at the start of next year. But as it stands right now, personally, I believe we have more than enough. I think Nick Haley is going to be able to rely on the game he really wanted to bring to the table when he brought to the Texans, and that's a heavy dose of running back play, making sure that you establish a great run game and make sure that you get your tight ends involved. Personally, I think our ace in the hole is Marlon Klein because I don't believe anyone in the league is able to contend with this young man at his size. And personally, once I saw that play, that 31-yard seam route that he caught, and an even better pass from Davis Mills, when I saw that, I didn't need to see nothing else. I didn't need to see a damn thing else from Marlon Klein in that game or any other game. It's going to be nice to see him because more than likely he's a rookie and they want him to be able to get any work. But certain plays that certain players have always made, and every time we've had camp standouts, which we have multiple this season, and Marlon Klein, Noah Whittington, Jalen Noel was doing extremely well. Jayden Higgins was doing extremely well. CJ Stroud is playing on a completely different level under pressure right now, so with what they have going on in practice right now and the fact that he has to see the best defense week in, week out is going, I think it'll be a lot better because the operations in terms of last year to this year is completely different. They're actually able to make things happen that they couldn't make happen last year. And I think everybody as a collective is bought in. The only worry that I really have is the punting unit. Right now, they haven't really found their punter, You know, we have one of the best, if not the best kicker in the league right now, Kyrie Fanbam. Not worried about him. Great blocker, too. I do agree. It says, Grizz, what's good, bro? Shout out to y'all boys, man. Yeah, personally, that's the only thing that I could say that I'm really worried about going into this season as it stands right now. As far as tonight, you can expect a lot of punts probably when the third, fourth, and the fifth string guys end up coming in. I'm not really expecting a lot of plays. We could be actually in for a little shock considering, you know, who decides to step up, and some of these guys might end up laying down, and you know it's gonna be real easy, you know, when cut time happen, you know, in a week and a half from now. But as of night, I'm expecting a pretty, I want to say a dominant performance, but the only reason why I'm not going to go full in on the dominant part is because nobody on the start defense is going to be playing. So you just get to feed some other guys. I would want to see Clowney tonight, though. I, at the very least, would like to see Clowney. I like to see Clowney. I want to see Toll's operation. Not Aziz wouldn't have to play. I just want to see Aziz. I want to see Toll's operation with a young guy like Woodaz or Fisher, whoever they decides who's going to be in like that third linebacker as of tonight. Kamar Ramsey, definitely need to see him again. Love what he did last week. I understand Colin Wright had a little injury. Not sure if he's going to be a go for the night. If not, rest up. See if you can get in next week. But more than likely, I think he's going to end up making his team as like the fifth or the sixth guy. I mean, he has the potential to be able to be the slot corner, considering his ball skills. And we also got word that Jalen Petrie's been working at the safety a little bit more, especially in terms when it comes to base coverage. When it comes to base coverage, if they run a 4-3, Jalen Petrie's the safety up top, while he's the safety to be able to come down and run defense instead of Reed Blankenship, and they still have Kalen Bullock playing high. So I think they're trying a whole lot of things. It's a lot of stuff that they want to be able to introduce because they want to make sure that they continue a certain level of dominance on defense. And as long as they keep it together, I think Matt Burke is going to end up being one of the better DCs who's going to probably be able to exit after this season. That's not a conversation we have to worry about right now. But as far as tonight's game, really expecting, I'm not really expecting anything more than 24, possibly 26 points tonight from the Houston Texans, if not lower. You know, I can see a game where we score probably between 19 and 20 points tonight. And the only reason why I say that is just because I don't think the starting O-line is going to be out there long enough with CJ. But if the starting O-line carries over with Davis Mills, I think he can end up sustaining a couple of drives. And the Raiders have no way from the interior D-line or in the back end to be able to stop anyone we have on the team as of now. And that's without Higgins. So that's really just how I view it. Any questions, anything y'all want to be able to relay to me before I end up bringing the video to a close, and we can go ahead and discuss it probably for like another 10 minutes or so. If it's anything that we miss, or y'all, or even stuff that's already happened since I haven't gone live, y'all go ahead and ask the questions now, and I can be able to relay any information on how I felt about any roster moves, about how I felt about any of the talent, how I felt about the draft, what I think about the current roster, what I think about the coaching staff. Y'all can ask me any of that right now. It's pretty much free for all. All the sucky teams want offensive head coaches. Yeah. Oh yeah. Logan Hall been balling the entire camp since he came back from his injury. Him, Clowney, bro. It's like every time they get on the field, they making plays. They making plays. They're getting stops, and the rotation from the D tackle probably is the deepest we've ever had. I know, like a year or so ago, like in 2024, when we had Foley, when we had Autry, Mario Edwards, Tim Settle, you know, it was pretty deep back there. But I think we have guys who are younger, stronger, with a mix of veterans that we have in as well. You got a lot of playoff experience. I want to say Logan Hall was a part of that team that ended up winning the championship with Tom Brady a few years ago. So you have enough guys being able to sprinkle in, but the defense as a whole, not and just it's just that shit is insane. It's just insane right now. Since Higgins went down, no one gave a damn about defensive end four. Defensive end four more than likely is going to end up being Logan Hall because he can kick in and outside. You have a lot of guys right now like Mario Edwards. He can do the same thing. He can play DN and he can play D tackle. He's a mix of both where he can be able to do both things. So I think they have a steady enough rotation. When it comes to the defense, it ain't nothing I'm worried about. Period. Not the backups, not the starters, not the roster, like nothing. Not the it's nothing to be concerned about when it comes to the defense. Not from my end. I'm not worried about anything. Arturo, what's good, bro? Appreciate everybody that came through, though. I really do appreciate that. Make sure y'all go ahead and y'all get them likes up if y'all haven't already liked the video. I plan on doing another video tonight for a pregame. Probably discuss it for like 15 to 20 minutes or so to get a little bit more in depth because it's not really going to be a whole lot to discuss. Just probably want to get some more of your predictions, how y'all want to see how that's going to go. We'll discuss more of that a little later on. Woodass, hey, I like what we got out of Woodass. I like Woodass and Fisher. I want Marte Marpu to really work out, but I don't really see him, really working out right now. Who knows how that's going to end up going. DeMeco being involved, I think these guys are going to end up being better, but it's also due to the reporting of the team. You don't really know what to think of these guys until we actually see them on the field. It's been pretty up and down. It's been pretty disingenuous. I'm not calling out anybody out specifically, but I think a lot of expectations can be tempered because it's not, if you're not hearing anything bad and you're not hearing anything good, I think you can assume as long as people aren't blatantly out here getting beat, then I think everybody's doing their job. Too crazy, bro. We got like 3 crazy white boys right now. I think we got Woodass, crazy white boy. Rutledge is the leader of the pack of the crazy white boys. I think he's head over heels the craziest white boy we got on the team right now. And I think Marlon Klein is one of the one, and Foster Moreau. Foster Moreau about that action. So, well, we got like 4 like truly confirmed crazy white boys right now. I think we're gonna end up probably next week. We'll probably end up talking about like some roster spots and like who we think will end up making the roster. I'm not gonna get into that this week because it's not really any point of really talking about it because we still have a lot of other guys that we still want to see that can be able to make an impact. But as it stands right now, I'm loving everything that I'm seeing. I'm liking that they're taking a slower take and nobody's rushing him. What we have seen as far as his movement, I think everything is still intact. Justin Watson, I haven't seen anything from Justin Watson that confirms that we should. But because right now, if you asking me, I think Louis Bonds, I think he's on the team. Him, and Jalen Noel are your true slots. You're gonna need somebody else. Hutchinson's on the team. Hutchinson he owes it to himself to be able to take a step up, which he did last year when when Nico was out a couple of games. He stepped up big time. So I think because him and CJ, and he went out and he worked with CJ, and he, in LA and all of these things, I think right now they have a great connection. He has a good connection with Davis Mills as well. So if anything was to happen, I don't think you're really going to be able to see a dip like that really go off. Steven Harris, what's good, big bro? Jay Perk. If we can get at least a top 15 in Russians, we'll be fine. Honestly, I don't think it has to be that high, but I think we could be that high because I expect the red zone defense to be a hell of a lot better. When you have a guy like David Montgomery, you get a lot of touchdowns. I think Woody is going to be more effective in the passing and running game. He's changed his body a lot. He's made plays, and he looks and it's just confirmed, y'all. Mendoza starting tonight. He's going to play the entire first half tonight. So that's funny. That just came in while we on live. It just came in on my thing. So I want to be able to report that. So you can expect for him to be in a lot of when the second team comes out, you'll probably end up seeing him probably making more plays towards the second quarter. So you can expect him to have a better second quarter than you're gonna see him have in the first quarter. That's where I'll go with that right now. What we got? D Love, what's good, bro? Lewis Bond is definitely on the team. Camp standout, bro. Every time we have a camp standout at any skill position, those guys always ball out. It's no year under DeMeco where that's been the case, and those guys weren't extremely effective. We have far too many examples. Lewis Bond's definitely going to be a high impact player. I think Hutchinson's definitely making it, no question. Nico, don't even say. Tank's going to be on the field at some point. When, we don't know. Would love for them to be able to confirm it. Would love if he would have been able to get some, maybe a preseason, start or something like that, or just a couple of reps last week. But I think he's one of those players where he'll probably get involved. If he doesn't get involved in a preseason, they might get him involved in next week's joint practice or something like that. So, we're going to end up seeing exactly what the plan is for him. But I think we have more than enough at the wide receiver and the tight end spots. And I trust the running backs. And honestly, I don't want to just outright say I trust Nick Caley. I think he still has a lot to show. I'm being cautiously optimistic. Those are the words I'm going to choose. K1 Stella, what's good? The Texans need to bring D-Hop back to H-Town. If they did, he would fit into the style because he already knows his playbook in and out. He knows everything that it is to know about it. And he excelled at an extremely high level when he was in the system some years ago under Bill O'Brien. And that's the reason why, that's one of the main reasons why I am so high on Lewis Bond, because say what you will, within the matter of 2 years, 2 to 3 years apart, 3 years now. Zay Flowers came out of Boston College when Bill O'Brien was the guy. We see what he's doing right now. He's like a top 20 receiver in the league, but he has a great IQ. He can make plays. Last year, he just had the best season that he possibly could. And now you got Lewis Bond, a guy who's a true slot. And when it comes to this New England/Rams offense, the slot and the tight ends are extremely important. And if you have you have a number one, if you can have a high end number two, even better. But the slot play, the tight end play, and having a receiving back, when you consider guys like Shane Vereen and James White, think about what they've done in those systems. Even when you look at the Rams right now, what they can do with Kyron Williams, even though he doesn't have a whole lot of volume, they're trying to find ways to be able to get Blake Corum involved in that system. So I think when you have guys like Tyler Higbee, Puka, you have a pretty decent O-line with the talents of somebody like Matt Stafford, and you got Sean McVay involved. I think you can get a whole lot done. Yeah, Race Burkhead, James White. You could just what was the big boy that used to run the ball? I forget his name. LeGarrette Blount. Even when they've had LeGarrette Blount and guys like that, they've been extremely effective and pretty much have had a running back by committee. They never had, New England never had a top 10 back in the league. That may change now because they got a young Travion Henderson. So we'll see exactly how that looks for New England going in this season, but we ain't going to discuss them because we're going to meet them down the road. But if y'all have any more questions for me, go ahead and put them in the chat. If y'all want to know my thoughts about anything else, just let me know. And make sure y'all smash that like button for me, please. Keyshawn Boutte makes a potential trade candidate for the... Yeah, I understand the Boutte thing, and I definitely liked him coming out of that draft. It was a shame that he ended up being a 6th-round pick. I didn't think he was 6th-round pick worthy. I thought he was supposed to be drafted way higher than that. I can understand that last year, LSU, he had a slight dip. But these last 2 years, bro, he's been making some plays. He really just hasn't gotten a chance. But clearly, him going from Josh McDaniels and going to he fits like a glove if a move was to make. If somehow a move was to be made for Kayshon Boutte, I think he fits in this team just perfectly. But I don't think Nick Caserio or DeMeco Ryan is desperate to make the move wide receiver, considering what they already have. And you haven't even explored what your tight ends can do game in, game out. If Marlon Klein steps up and is a consistent asset along with Dalton Schultz, you can expect a lot of different matchup nightmares. Both of these guys 6'5", 6'6", and they're going crazy. Whatever Tank, yeah, anything Tank does is it's the cherry on top. Whatever he does. Do you think Lassiter gets paid? Not without a shadow of a doubt. If Kamari Lassiter, he's going to get paid like $35 million. If he was to hit free agency, Kamari Lassiter is easily the highest paid. It doesn't matter who gets paid before him. He's easily the highest paid corner. If he was to hit free agency, it's not even a question. Be satisfied. I'm expecting Tank to go off. Yeah. I'm expecting great things for Tank. I never count a Tank out. I think he's just too special. They do. I think they do have some options. Boutte, wanting to get out of New England for whatever reason is, it is what it is. I don't know if it's a thing with the coaching staff, the organization, his reps. Who knows? Maybe he just doesn't like New England as a whole. Maybe he never wanted to be in Boston, for all I know, because that can't happen. But if he does get out, and if he is cut, I don't see us trading for him. But in a waiver wire, if we go down the line and if nobody picks him up, the only way I can see is to getting him is through a waiver wire. And I think he fits well within the system that we currently have right now with Nick Caley. I think that's a situation where he can be able to step in. He's going to have to learn the verbiage. And, of course, he's going to have to get on board and be in accordance with CJ and the timing and everything like that. And he's still going to have to, handle up on his end. But right now, I think wide receiver is pretty crowded. You still have too many playmakers. He injured again. Leonard, he injured as he always is. He's a non-factor once again. So you can go ahead and just cut him. Honestly, when he got hurt, I was surprised they didn't just cut him in. You can't keep him any longer than you have. You can't keep holding on to these guys like Dare, Wale, all these guys. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. They haven't done anything for your football team. I understand you like them as men. I understand they're probably great teammates and they got great physical ability. But enough is enough. They're not contributors in whatsoever. They're just not. So go ahead, let them slide out. Gary Wilson is the one would have been excellent chemistry. Yeah, but that's not happening. He already got signed. He's already under contract with the Jets, and you're not giving him no first-round pick for a guy like that. Dare on the Raiders now. I mean, that's some good veteran leadership. I mean, I don't have nothing bad to say about Dare. I understand last year, was probably one of his worst years because of them fumbles, especially in week 1. A lot of Texas fans ain't overlooked that, but he did redeem himself in Sunday Night Football and got that touchdown, versus the Chiefs. So can't hate him too much. He kicked the field goal and, to be able to help us out year 1 with CJ when we needed a kicker and, Kaimi Fairbairn and all these other guys go out. So, he did what he needed to do. Great special team player, great gunner. He made some plays in the passing game, blew some guys up from the, in the run game as a pass blocking. So can't really be mad at it. All the dialogue, bro. Man, I've been seeing all your work recently, bro. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to all the dialogue. If y'all want to see some great interviews, I'm still looking for mine because I ain't forgot I asked you. You know what I'm saying? You already know. But, it is what it is. Y'all make sure y'all shout out that boy, man. He just did some more interviews that he just uploaded. So if y'all not a fan or subscribe to some of his work, make sure y'all go check him out, bro. Phenomenal interviews. We lost a lot of time with him. He can't stay healthy for shit. Yeah, he can't. You really can't. Darius Slayton, now I'm not feeling that. Texans, I'll make a trade for Marlon Harrison, put next to Nico Collins. I mean, it sounds good, but I don't see I don't see a situation considering what they have right now, especially since they just brought in Jeremiah Love. And if you get rid of Marv, who's your other option outside of Trey McBride? Yeah, you do have Trey McBride now, so I don't want to, I don't want to say they don't have options. I don't want to do that. But the Cardinals not as bad as a lot of people, um, as they say. Um, hey, bro, we can discuss it. We can definitely discuss it. If you email or something like that, if you got an email or anything on your page, I'll hit you up. Mooney and Butte, the only realistic trades. I don't see no trades though. See, that's the only problem. Y'all keep saying trades. I don't see us trading for nobody. If somebody gets cut, they end up on the wire. We steal somebody off the practice squad who they possibly had their eyes on and has an understanding of the system. I can see that. Trading, nah, I don't see it. I don't see it. If anything, they'll go back to the well in the draft. I think considering the fact that you blew a second round pick on, I don't want to say blew, because Stephon Diggs, when he was here, was putting in work before he went out to his ACL injury, and against the Colts. I think he would have possibly got like 1,100 yards that season, maybe more, the way he was rolling. But I don't see it. And then you trade for Christian Kirk, and that didn't work out the way he didn't start getting right until towards the end of the season. He started making more plays, and then you saw what you saw in the playoffs. So right now I don't see it. I don't see anything. If something was to happen, and this is a huge if, but if it was to happen, I don't see anything higher than nothing higher than a fifth. I don't even see a fifth, possibly a sixth, maybe. Right now, I don't see it, bro. I really don't. I don't see it. Darnell Mooney, I'm not. Nah, I'm not. Personally, I'm not. We need a borderline star wide receiver to get into some domestic violence or something. I mean, maybe not domestic violence, but no shit like that. We don't advocate for that. But, I don't think it's really anybody out there right now who tickles their fancy right now. I really don't. I think if a move would have been made, they would have made it a long time ago. If they felt like that, Tyreek would have been taken a long time ago if his leg was good. If he, and Tyreek got to get on the field. He got physicals to do. He got to do some workout videos. He got to show that he still has the same amount of explosion that he had before he ended up going down from his injury. But right now, he can walk. But to his own admission, he doesn't have the same power in his leg that he had. So who knows how difficult that is for him? Yeah, but right now, I don't see that. Diggs would have been. People flirted with the Diggs thing a few weeks back. Even before we even got back in the camp, thinking that once the Diggs situation settled down, a lot of people will thought should we bring him back? And honestly, had this move happened some weeks back, I think Stephon Diggs would be right back on the team. I think he would, especially considering you're already working Tank in. He already knows how to work in he already knows how to work with CJ and Nico. He already understands his role. But if you do that, it was more than likely going to be in a slot position, which you pretty much loaded at the slot right now with Bond and Jalen Noel. So that's the only reason why I think they would be apprehensive about a move like that. I don't think from anything else, because when he was with the Texans, he had no issues. He had no drama whatsoever, not on the field or outside the field. You ain't hear nothing about Stephon Diggs when he was with the Texans. But he's already with Washington anyway, so that ain't nothing we ever got to worry about. Hard no. I mean, it's a definite no now, because he with JD5, and we're gonna see how long that lasts, because Jayden Daniels getting a whole lot of smoke right now. Deontay Johnson, absolutely not. We already went to that well. It didn't work out. He's ass. The baggage Diz has on him now is worse than when he joined the Texans before. I mean, He don't have no baggage right now. I mean, he don't really have nothing going on right now. His case is already done. He been quiet really ever since then. Since his case and all that stuff happened, that's already behind him right now. So, I mean, it is what it is. Had that zesty dude accusing him of SA when he was with the Texans. Oh my God, Noah Brown. Noah Brown. Ain't he on somebody's squad right now? I could have heard somebody talk about Noah Brown the other day. I think he on somebody's squad right now, and honestly, I don't see him getting cut from whatever team he on. I think he's a great veteran option. Still a very explosive guy. Ex-booty Bandits Diggs. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. He in NRG tonight. Ain't he on the Raiders, right? Right? Yeah, ain't he on the Raiders? Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, yeah, I could have swore I seen him recently. It is the damn Raiders. Well, I know he hated because he was just here just a couple of days. Gabe Davis, absolutely not. That boy ass. He can't get it done with Josh Allen. He went to Trevor. He went from Josh Allen. He went to Trevor Lawrence, and he went right back to Josh Allen, and still couldn't get shit done. I don't know. I don't know, bro. I'm in a good mood, not tripping about it. No, I'm not tripping. Because I'd be tripping if Noel is back. Noel didn't have nothing super major anyway. I love Marlon Klein, if you weren't in here earlier. I like the running backs we got. I like the operation in the O-line for CJ. I think he's going to be a lot more comfortable, and I think he bought into the system. I see Caley being more efficient than he was last year. Definitely not trading for Keon Coleman, bro. No. He not worth a bag of Oreos. Sauce Trail, what's good, bro? Welcome to the stream. Appreciate y'all coming through. Yeah. Gabe Davis is ass. Yeah, I'm not. Loved him coming out of the draft, but in the NFL, he ain't done nothing. And when you have a guy like Josh Allen, I feel like if you can't perform with Josh Allen, it really ain't nothing that anybody can do for you. Not to say, I don't want to say that's the end all be all, but when your only guys is Khalil Shakir, a run game, Josh Allen's legs, Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox not really doing anything. Jackson Halls ain't really doing anything from the tight end position. So, like, you bringing back guys like Gabe Davis, those dudes are taking reps for you. Why are we going to be worrying about... And honestly, I mean, for him to be 6'4", he not even going up to go get that thing. So, like, what are we talking about? He ain't going to do... He wouldn't be better than Jayden Higgins would have been had he not got hurt. So no, I just don't. I mean, what are you going to use him for? That's the only thing. I trust Xavier Hutchinson. He's gotten better and he's made big plays throughout his entire Texans career. Forget about him making. A lot of people forget about the play he made in the Chargers game when CJ when he got that bad snap on that little, in the deep in the back half of the field, he rolled out, and who did CJ throw it to? Threw it to Xavier Hutchinson. It was like one of the only plays he made that game, but his plays like that to be huge. He didn't caught 40-yard bombs. He be efficient on them damn them end arounds, and stuff like that. Like, he can get you, like, so it's things that he can do, and he can play on the outside, which is what we really need him to do. Can they move him around? Can they move Nico around in the slot and move some guy and do some different things? And no, we're not gonna get no wide receiver news right now. You can't expect it. You shouldn't expect any wide receiver news, because I think they believe in the guys they already got in the building. Lewis Bond is stepping up. Hutchinson stepping up. Jared Wayne is stepping up. I think he'll like to make the team now. Tank is going to be on the field at some point. So it's Nico, Tank, Noel, Hutchinson, Bond, and Jared Wayne. That's 6 receivers right there. Justin Watson, I don't know. I haven't seen Justin Watson do anything amazing. I know they talk about him. They say he's been having a pretty good camp. I ain't really seen Justin Watson do nothing. You know, you can't even film and practice no more. So Justin Watson remains to be seen. We're gonna have to see it in the preseason game. You know, I don't know. When they gave that whole list of stuff that they did in the joint practice the other day, I didn't see Justin Watson name on none of it. So you know, I think it's certain people who've been pumping him up and they want him to make the team. But personally, I don't think he's gonna make the team. I think we'll have 6 receivers, 3 running backs, 4 tight ends gonna make this team, and like 10 linemen, two quarterbacks. That'll be the offense. Yeah, he's a special teams guy, but I mean, I don't know. I don't I don't see him making a team. If he is, he gonna be number 7, because I think Bond undoubtedly is the number 2 slot guy behind Noel. If they have Noel as that guy, which he can be a number 2, but he can still be playing in the slot as a number 2. Hell, as a number 1, you have CD and Amon-Ra St. Brown doing that, as well as other guys who are around the league. So you can be the number 1 and still play at various spots, you know, X, Z, or the slot. I trust CJ. Ain't too many quarterbacks could even be average with what he's had the last few years. Yeah, bro. You put the only quarterbacks I say that could be in his situation and still thrive is Josh Allen, because he's done it with pretty much nothing throughout his entire career. I mean, outside of James Cook and Stephon Diggs, he hasn't had any other key contributor, not a tight end, not another running back. Yeah, he's had good online. Deshaun did it to an extent. Guys was going down left and right. He still was getting it done when he was a Texan. Patty's definitely gotten it done. That's really it. I mean, I can't really see. It's not too many quarterbacks who could do what C.J. Stroud's done with the amount of pressure, with no run game. His run game's been ranked at the bottom every single year, even with Joe Mixon and Devin Singletary, which I wouldn't have thought that would have been the case considering the numbers that they had. But they're talking about the efficiency of it. And considering the fact that that's been an issue, I don't know. Is Amon-Ra overrated? Hell no, he ain't overrated. He a top 7 receiver in the league. What are we talking about? And he plays in a great system and no special traits. I don't know what the hell you talking about. He phenomenal. He get phenomenal yak, dominant at the catch point, be routing boys up, got good hands. Bro, he stays with 100 receptions a year, bro. He stay getting like 1,400 yards a season. I don't agree with that at all. I don't know. Maybe you need to invest in a fantasy team or something. I don't know. You know, get on ESPN. You way off base when it comes to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Juju, he ass, bro. Like, he been ass since Antonio Brown left the Steelers. He thought he was that dude. Antonio Brown left. He been ass ever since. Yeah, nah. He dookie. If you confident in CJ, then draft him this year. I mean, he gonna be available, and I don't have to draft him because he gonna be available at the end of the draft. If a move end up making, no, I got other guys. I can't. I'm not gonna prioritize CJ. But if anything go down, or if I need somebody, if I gotta fill a roster spot, CJ gonna definitely be. I'm gonna keep my eyes on him. I ain't finna. I'm invested in some other guys. I'm not stupid. Yeah. Could trade a 2028 pick for what, Lumineer? What are you talking about exactly? I prefer Jameson Williams stretches the field. Bro, Jameson just got paid. We ain't getting no Jameson Williams. I like Amon-Ra because he's more efficient. He's almost a guarantee. See, me, if I'm trading for somebody, I'm trading for a proven commodity. And I'm willing to give up a hefty price to be able to get somebody. Y'all don't want to know who I'm willing to trade for. You know, the guys in the Discord already know because we had this conversation yesterday. It's not going to happen, but if you're going to trade for somebody, you're going to trade for somebody. He's only a slot. No, he's not only a slot. Amon-Ra play XZ and he can play in the slot. They move him all over the line. They do the same thing with CeeDee Lamb. But he's a matchup nightmare in the slot. Why wouldn't you? The same way that Nico is. When Nico in the slot, he's a matchup nightmare. And when he in the slot, he be putting in major work. But do you call him a slot receiver? No. Not a slot receiver. Just because they dominate at a certain point. If you gonna put your linebacker on one of the top 7 receivers consistently, or you're gonna put a safety, and when most safeties and most third corners in the league are trash. Most slot corners in the league really not that good. There's very few slot corners who can play at an extremely high level in the NFL currently. It's not a lot of those guys. So when you want to put that in, it's a matchup nightmare. Why wouldn't you do that? You got Gibbs. You just had Montgomery. You still got J-Mo who going to go over the top. He's a matchup nightmare. And you got Sam Laporta. The only thing hurting them is injuries to the offense and the defense. Too many of Frank Ragnow retired before the season last year. They center retired. They guard, bro. A whole bunch of different moves end up happening, and then they lost too many people in their secondary. They lost Kirby Joseph last year. They lost a lot of guys last year. So yeah, we got to see. Marvin Harrison is the only answer. No, he's not the only answer. If in a world we wanted to discuss a trade, he is at the top of the list, though. He's definitely at the top of the list, but he's not the only answer. Marv for a third rounders. They ain't gonna give him up for a third rounder because they drafted him 4th overall. I give up a second for him. That's me. Not this year's second, like the next year's second. Like, the following year. Terrion Arnold got to get it done. Like, Terrion Arnold hasn't really been good in the NFL so far. And Trayvon Diggs, bro, going to the Seahawks. I know people want to make, and be like, oh, my God, they got this. Bro, Trayvon Diggs be giving up hella touchdowns. That ain't going to change just because he got Mike McDonald. He be giving up hella touchdowns, and he ain't played good football since 2021. Arnold, we don't even know if he going to end up on the exempt list or what. We don't even know because he's not going to just play to start the season. He might end up getting cut before, the season even starts. That's something to be able to keep your eye on. But if they were good with what they had, if they really felt like that, then what was the point of getting rid of Kobe Bryant? But he is hurt right now, so he wouldn't, he can't help him. And you already got rid of Reek Williams because you thought he was replaceable, right? Okay, so the Eagles picked him up. Now we're going to find out. You think you're just going to put bums out here and you think just because you're a good defensive coach, hell, we've seen that. When you don't have guys out here, and when you start going to other depth pieces, put Tremont Smith out there and let Kamari Lassiter go up and go see a guy like Justin Herbert immediately make plays like he did last year. Kamari Lassiter goes out in the game for like a drive or so, and guess what? The only plays that Justin Herbert could make on that play was when Tremont Smith came in the game. Did you see Tremont Smith? Are you even hear his name right now? Of course not, because we got better depth than that. We got better playmakers in the secondary across the board. So, if they felt like that, then they could have went and, they could have drafted somebody or they could have made different moves. But Seattle, I think they'll still be good. I ain't really trying to discuss the whole league, but if Seattle is as good as they say they are, then they don't need to get all this extra shit, right? Mike McDonald, they saying Mike McDonald the best defensive coach in the league. Okay, we're going to see. We gonna see. Mac Hollins ass, bro. Bro, what? Bro, I should time you out for that stupid shit. I should. I don't think I got the heart to do it. Colin Wright. Colin Wright could be the slot corner over Petrie. That's how well he playing. Petrie can play in the big nickel spot. He can still play the star role, which they'll still probably end up doing, but you can expect a heavier rotation between him and safety if Colin Wright comes in and takes that slot position. He can easily do that. Colin Wright been balling the entire time, and he got the respect of everybody on the team, especially on the defense. The secondary players, they've been talking about him crazy, and I love Jalen Smith, Jalen Reed. People been forgetting about them the whole time. So it's like, oh, you need to get to know. We already had corner. Jalen Smith, amazing. You still got Petrie. You got Colin Wright, who's a very smart player, very, I didn't know he was as big as he was until we talked about him after the Chargers game. You know what I'm saying? So he got a lot of athletic ability. And, Stanford do put out some good defensive players here and there, i.e. Richard Sherman. You know what I'm saying? And he did come out of Stanford too. So, who knows? We may be doing one of these, DB's hella stacked. I think they stacked. I think it's going pretty well right now. You can just do so many things with the defensive rotation up front. Togiai's stepping up. Sheldon Rankins stepping up. I think they're going to take their time with Caden McDonald, but when his time comes, he's stepping up. Logan Hall, Mario Edwards, all of these guys are just playing extremely well right now. Like, the depth is just too much. I saw somebody say, Wright may be our next boy. Yeah, honestly, he could be. He could be. With DeMeco Ryan's anything possible, bro. Sheldon Rankins never played this well until he got with somebody like DeMeco Ryan's. We've seen this happen too many times. Every time you leave DeMeco Ryan's, you go get paid, i.e. Tim Settle, i.e. Sheldon Rankins the first time, i.e. Malik Collins, i.e. Blake Cashman, i.e. Jonathan Grenard, who already got traded 2 years after we let him go. So, I mean, it's not too many guys who walked away from this team who didn't get paid. Eric Murray got paid by the Jaguars. Had a hell of a season last year with Antonio Smith in the back end. You know what I'm saying? So, unless you Jimmy Ward, who is a ass can, bro, he sucks. Or you a whole like old buddy who was here in 2023, the one who kept making all the videos about Nick Caserio and DeMeco, the one who was hating. Steven Nelson, bitch ass. Yeah, outside of them, like, you really ain't, you got to be a true bum. You got to fall off like something. And if you can't get it right with DeMeco, then it's a lot of people, because too many people respect DeMeco around the league. But, yeah, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but that's only because his name is already built up, and he tripping over some shit when he ended up going to another playoff team. He left a playoff team to go to another playoff team. And he didn't finish no better than we did. But overall, we had a better team because we had a better record. We made the playoffs. We beat a team on the road. And we get to see him week 1. And he talked all that shit. Remember what happened last time he talked shit? We lost the game. So him talking ain't done him no justice. And he got to be healthy enough to even make it to week 1. I'm not expecting nothing from him. I don't even want to get in that game because I'm finna save all that energy for all my schedule prediction, all that. We're going to save that, for the next week or so. I ain't finna give all that up right now. Yeah, but if it's any more questions, I'll give y'all probably another 5 minutes before I end up closing this video down, because it went a hell of a lot longer than I thought it was going to go, because I thought it was going to be like 30 minutes, but y'all been, engaged and been having a whole lot of questions and stuff like that. We've been able to go back and forth, so I appreciate it. If y'all ain't like the video, make sure y'all go ahead and smash that like button for me, though. And share it on your platforms, too. Carson made the milk duds. I know you trolling. Jimmy Ward is garbage. He can't even stay healthy. No, he couldn't. No, he really couldn't. And he just wasn't making no plays like that anyway. You know, I was glad to move on from guys like Jimmy Ward finally. I was glad to move on from guys like Dare finally. I'll be glad when we move on from Brevin Jordan. He next. Yeah. That's crazy, bro. Talking about Nick Casario vest and shit. Talking about you can't trust somebody with a vest like this, bro. The team been more successful. Yeah, Joe Mixon, bro. Ain't no telling where he at. You know, he probably not gonna play again. Um, who knows? Well, if y'all ain't got nothing else to add, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring this video to a close. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make a post for a live stream a little later on, just for the pregame. Probably discuss that and probably discuss some things that we're gonna talk about in the matchup, see how that goes, especially since Mendoza gonna end up playing. So we'll discuss that game a little further. But as it stands right now, appreciate y'all coming through. Everything was all good. Shout out to my boy Wise. Shout out to everybody in the Discord, the whole Sauce Nation family, as well as everybody who came through and showed love. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring it to a close. Welcome to Third Coast Sports TV. I'm your host Wink. We talk sports, we love sports, and we enjoy sports. And we're gonna be on the ass when the season starts. Make sure y'all be on the lookout for some more future content.